The competition's not there, the storyline's not there. There's been this new introduction of a basketball storyline built around Caitlin Clark and women's basketball. The competition is actually getting to the NBA.
Caitlin Clark has introduced a fascinating dynamic to the basketball world, particularly during the summer months when the NBA often struggles to generate excitement. Historically, this period has been relatively uneventful for basketball fans, with little to hold their attention. However, Clark's standout performances and her rivalry with some of the prominent players in the WNBA have shifted the focus. Her games and the accompanying drama have offered a narrative rich in passion, skill, and competition, something that resonates deeply with audiences. Meanwhile, the NBA has been criticized for failing to provide equally engaging stories during this time. Many fans have expressed frustration over the league's reliance on star players who, due to load management or lack of consistency, fail to deliver the excitement expected of them. The contrast becomes glaring. On one hand, the WNBA, driven by players like Caitlin Clark, offers authenticity, determination, and compelling rivalries. On the other hand, the NBA is perceived as lacking the same level of intensity and connection with its audience. This shift has led to discussions about the changing landscape of basketball fandom. Fans are increasingly drawn to stories and players who embody the essence of competitive sports, rather than flashy, yet inconsistent performances. Caitlin Clark's rise and the riveting matchups she has been part of have not only elevated the WNBA's profile but also posed a challenge to the NBA's dominance in capturing basketball enthusiasts' attention.
And she'll take the first three-pointer and knock it down. And shooter for shooter. 3 for 3, but look out, Aaliyah Boston penetrating. Thornton with a...
The NBA is facing an unexpected challenge, as the WNBA, propelled by the rise of Caitlin Clark, is creating a storyline that is starting to capture the attention of basketball fans in ways that the NBA has failed to do recently. For years, the NBA has struggled with a lack of compelling narratives during the offseason, leaving fans with little to discuss beyond the usual speculations about player movements or potential trades. Meanwhile, the WNBA has managed to build an exciting new story centered around Clark, whose exceptional skills and fierce competitiveness have made the league much more intriguing. This shift is no small feat, as the WNBA has been developed over 28 years, and Clark's rise has breathed new life into a league that was previously considered less exciting. In comparison, the NBA, once a constant source of drama and intrigue, is now finding itself lacking the same level of captivating storylines. In the past, every offseason would bring questions that fueled the excitement around the game. Would Michael Jordan win another title? Could Magic and Larry truly be compared? And who is the better player? Would Allen Iverson's style of play ever lead to a championship? Could Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal coexist? Or would one of them lead the Lakers to a title without the other? These storylines kept fans on the edge of their seats, with every season bringing new narratives that drove interest. However, now, the Michael Jordan versus LeBron James debate has seemingly run its course, and the NBA appears to be struggling to create fresh drama in the same way. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark and the WNBA are beginning to offer a new kind of excitement, one that the NBA seems to be lacking. This shift suggests that the NBA, despite its global popularity and dominance, may be losing its grip on creating the kind of intense competition and storylines that once defined the sport. The rise of Caitlin Clark as a dominant figure in women's basketball has created an unexpected rival, pushing the WNBA into the spotlight and forcing the NBA to rethink its strategies for engaging fans both on and off the court.
Because the Michael Jordan, LeBron deal, it's over. Michael Jordan won that. The documentary Last Chance or Last Run, Last Dance.
Caitlin Clark delivered extraordinary performances during the previous season, which have firmly positioned her as one of the most exciting and skilled players in basketball, regardless of gender. Her ability to dominate games, break records, and inspire fans has brought a level of attention to the WNBA that it has never seen before. Clark's rise has not only captivated basketball fans, but has also put the NBA under increasing pressure. While the NBA has traditionally been seen as the pinnacle of basketball, Clark's success has led to the realization that women's basketball, particularly through her influence, is becoming a formidable competitor. Her performances and the compelling stories surrounding her career have sparked a new wave of interest in the WNBA, making it a league that fans are eager to follow and invest in. With Clark leading the charge, the WNBA has started to challenge the dominance of the NBA in terms of fan engagement and excitement. The NBA is now facing an undeniable shift in attention, as basketball fans are finding themselves drawn to the fierce competition and inspiring narratives of women's basketball. NBA players and team management are now aware that they are no longer the only show in town. The pressure to compete with the rising energy and intensity from the WNBA, led by Clark, has forced them to rethink how they approach the game, both on and off the court. What makes this even more significant is that the NBA has long been the global face of basketball, generating massive amounts of attention during its seasons and off-seasons. For decades, the NBA's off-season was filled with rumors, trades, and endless debates about legendary players like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. However, with Clark's emergence and the subsequent spotlight on women's basketball, the NBA finds itself grappling with the reality that the competition for attention and relevance in the basketball world is no longer a one-sided affair. As Caitlin Clark continues to perform at the highest level, it's clear that her rise isn't just about individual success. It's about how she's fundamentally altering the landscape of basketball. The NBA now faces a world where the lines between men's and women's basketball are blurring, and the next era of global basketball fandom may very well be defined by the fierce competition between both leagues. This shift is not just a challenge for the NBA, it's an exciting new chapter for basketball as a whole.
Broke the news to her that she was going to be invited here to DC to play.
And an offensive foul called.
For decades, the NBA has held the crown as the most popular and dominant basketball league in the world. Its storylines, player rivalries, and exciting matchups have driven fan engagement, with off-season rumors and dramatic narratives keeping basketball fans entertained year-round. However, this has begun to change, especially with the rise of Caitlin Clark and the increasing prominence of women's basketball. The competition that the NBA once had the privilege of controlling has now shifted, as Clark and the WNBA have introduced an entirely new and captivating storyline that has started to rival the excitement of NBA basketball. The NBA, once the undisputed leader in basketball entertainment, now finds itself in a position where its former off-season dominance is being challenged. Women's basketball, through players like Caitlin Clark, has created a compelling narrative that basketball fans are eager to follow. Clark's impressive performances on the court, paired with her growing influence and the rise of the WNBA as a force in the sport, have brought a level of intensity and excitement to women's basketball that has made it a serious competitor for the NBA in terms of attention and fan interest. The WNBA, which has been steadily developed and funded over the past 28 years, is now no longer a niche league, but rather a powerful competitor that is drawing fans from all corners of the basketball world. This transformation has been largely driven by Caitlin Clark, whose talent and charisma have helped elevate the entire league to a new level of visibility. As the WNBA's popularity grows, the NBA faces a unique challenge. The excitement that once only existed within the NBA is now being matched, if not surpassed, by the drama and energy coming from the WNBA. For NBA players, this shift presents a new pressure to recapture the kind of excitement and storylines that have been lost in their own league. The NBA's once unassailable grip on basketball storytelling is now being tested by a league that, just a few years ago, was considered an afterthought. The WNBA's newfound popularity, bolstered by Clark's star power, has created a situation where the NBA must not only compete for fan attention, but must also acknowledge the impact that women's basketball is having on the sport as a whole. What started as a small, female-centric league has now become a formidable force in basketball, and the NBA's lack of a compelling off-season or fresh storylines only emphasizes how much they are being overshadowed by the rise of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's emergence has truly marked a turning point in the world of basketball, showing that the competition is no longer confined to the NBA. With her success and the increasing popularity of women's basketball, the landscape of basketball fandom is evolving, and the NBA will need to adapt if it hopes to maintain its position at the top of the basketball hierarchy. This shift may very well signal the beginning of a new era in basketball, where the power dynamics between men's and women's basketball leagues are no longer as clear-cut as they once were. For decades, the NBA stood as the undisputed leader of the basketball world, with its thrilling player rivalries, dramatic playoff runs, and intense off-season storylines that kept fans on the edge of their seats. Every year, there was something to look forward to, whether it was debates about Michael Jordan's legendary career, the dynamic between Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, or the anticipation of LeBron James's next big move. These storylines were woven into the fabric of NBA culture and helped solidify the league's global dominance. However, recent developments have started to challenge this narrative, with the emergence of Caitlin Clark and the growing prominence of women's basketball. Clark, with her phenomenal talent and fierce competitiveness, has become a central figure in the world of basketball, and her rise has brought an entirely new level of excitement to the WNBA. For the first time in years, the WNBA is no longer just a secondary league. It has become a legitimate force in the world of sports, largely due to Clark's influence. Her skill on the court, her leadership, and her ability to perform under pressure have drawn a massive following, making her one of the most talked-about athletes in basketball today. The WNBA, which has been carefully cultivated and financed for 28 years, has reached a tipping point where it's now becoming an equal competitor to the NBA in terms of fan engagement, media coverage, and overall excitement. The NBA, in turn, is now facing a real challenge. Once the undisputed home of the most exciting basketball narratives, it is struggling to create fresh and engaging storylines. The league that once dominated the offseason with news of blockbuster trades, rivalries, and team shakeups is now watching as the WNBA and players like Caitlin Clark take the spotlight. This shift is not just about women's basketball becoming more popular. It's about the NBA losing its grip on what was once its exclusive domain, the creation of basketball drama and intrigue. In the past, NBA fans had something to look forward to in every offseason, whether it was the uncertainty of LeBron James's free agency, the potential for a new dynasty, or questions surrounding whether a player could finally break through and lead his team to a championship. Now, with the rise of the WNBA, the NBA faces competition in the form of a new and exciting narrative that centers around women's sports, particularly the impact of Clark's career. This new story has not only captured the attention of basketball fans, but has also drawn in a broader, more diverse audience that is eager for a new kind of basketball entertainment. As Caitlin Clark's story continues to unfold, it will be interesting to see how the NBA adapts to the shifting landscape of basketball. The competition that the WNBA and players like Clark are creating is forcing the NBA to reevaluate its approach to storytelling, fan engagement, and even the way it markets its players. The era where the NBA was the sole provider of basketball drama is quickly coming to an end, and it's clear that the future of basketball may lie in the blending of men's and women's sports narratives. This shift marks the beginning of a new chapter in basketball history, one where the lines between the NBA and the WNBA are less distinct, and where the competition for the title of most exciting basketball league is fiercer than ever.